Barakata Yahweh, Barakata Yahabushai, Bahasham, Barakahakwadash, Barakatum. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, glory, and infinite honors to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahabushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone who rule and teach well. In peace and salutations to you sincere Akim out there, pushing this word in truth and sincerity to the four corners of the globe. May you brothers endure until the end. This is the brother Ra'aya with another video, and I'm going to start it off in Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15. For behold, Yahweh will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind. And Yahweh is the true name of the Heavenly Father, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called God. And his son's name is Yahabushai, whom the world ignorantly refers to as so-called Jesus. And the chariots of the Lord, of Yahweh, are what people out here call UFOs, flying saucers. They're really IFOs, identified flying objects, the heavenly vehicles of Yahweh Bahashem Yahabushai, which, as it's about to say, are to render his anger with fury and his rebukes with flame of fire, and the chariots of the Most High, led by his son, Yahabushai, upon his second coming, are going to render the anger and judgment of Yahweh Bahashem Yahabushai on the people of this planet, chiefly the biblical Edomites, or these so-called white people. And those rebukes with flames of fire are talking about that concentrated heat, or the so-called laser beams that are going to be fired from the chariots. And also, upon Yahushai's second coming, we're going to be in the midst of World War III, which nuclear missiles are going to be shot to the ends of the earth. And also, the spirit of the Most High, through the chariots and the angels piloting them, are going to be controlling those missiles, guiding them to their targets without any problems, to further render his anger with fury and his rebukes with flames of fire. And I opened up the video with this verse to preface an article on irishstar.com titled, NASA Astronaut Claims Aliens, in quotes, prevented nuclear war between the U.S. and Russia. Edgar Mitchell, the sixth man to walk on the moon, has claimed that aliens attempted to prevent a nuclear war between the U.S. and Russia by deactivating missiles. And those aliens are really the angels of the Most High, and they don't look like little green men with big eyes and bulbous foreheads. They have the appearance of so-called Negroes with woolly beards and afros. Hey, just like the Heavenly Father and his son also have the appearance of, so-called dark-skinned Negroes, and they have, white woolly beards and afros, which you can read about, Yahushai's appearance in Revelation chapter 1, verses 14 to about 16. But hey, this claim that this NASA astronaut made is true to an extent because, the angels, through the will of the Most High, have been, holding back this great nuclear destruction during World War III, which is all coming, because back during the Cold War, it wasn't the time for those things to happen. But we are quickly coming into the times where those angels are going to work on the minds of those soldiers and personnel working at those nuclear launch facilities to shoot those nuclear missiles, just like they're holding back, the battle in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, the War of Armageddon in that Middle Eastern region in Joel chapter 3, waiting to get the go-ahead from the Most High to put it on the minds of these different generals to finally make those plans to initiate that war. Which, before we continue in the article, I'm going to get that. This is Revelation chapter 9. Salakia. Yeah, I wanted to go to Revelation chapter 9. Start at verse 11. And go to about verse 15. Start at verse 12. Salakia. Khan. This is Revelation chapter 9, verse 12. One woe or destruction is past, referring to World War I. And behold, there come two woes more hereafter. World War II, which is past, and World War III, which is quickly coming upon us and will go nuclear. What just took place, Iran launching retaliatory strikes on Israel for their bombing of Iran's embassy the other week. And that's just another stepping stone leading towards the battle in the Valley of Jehoshaphat. And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before the Most High, saying to the sixth angel, which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And those angels over there are waiting to get the go-ahead from the Most High to release, and initiate the battle in the Valley of Jehoshaphat, the War of Armageddon, to put it on the minds of those different heathens' armies to finally go at it. And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year for to slay the third part of men. And in the scriptures, you've got three classifications of men. You've got the sons of the Most High, the sons of God, who are the children of Israel, the sons of the righteous, who are known as the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans today. And while the majority of our people, are engulfed in the wickedness of this world, you have that remnant, the elect, who are going to be the first fruits in the kingdom of heaven, who are right now doing everything they can to please their power, Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Then you have the sons of men, these heathen nations, the Moabites, who are the so-called Chinese, the Hamites, or the so-called Africans, the Ishmaelites, who are known as the so-called Arabs, the Elamites, so-called East Indians, and et cetera, et cetera. And then you have that third part, the sons of the wicked, the biblical Edomites, who are known as these so-called white people. And everywhere these Edomites dwell during World War III is going to get hit by nuclear missiles. But the United States of America, which is biblically known as Babylon the Great, is going to get completely wiped off the face of the earth when it's hit by 200 million nuclear missiles and turned into the biblical lake of fire. But as it said, and the angel sounded, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. Hey, angels which, are going to and fro in the earth in the chariots, following the will of the Most High, enacting his will on the minds of men. Hey, these angels in the Euphrates, once they get that go ahead, to allow the battle in the Valley of Jehoshaphat to take place, it will. This is Joel chapter 3. I'm going to read verses 11 to 12. And this is going into the battle in the Valley of Jehoshaphat. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, the United States of America, the state of Israel, those other NATO nations, Iran, Russia, China, Saudi Arabia, etc., and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Yahweh, the angels over in that region. Hey, those angels, bound in the great river Euphrates, waiting to get the go-ahead from the Most High to work on the minds of these different heathens' armies to finally enact this battle. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the Valley of Jehoshaphat, which is Yahweh Shaphat in the Hebrew, which means Yahweh's judgment. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. One more I want to get in where's it at? In Revelation chapter 16, verse 12. Revelation chapter 16, verse 12, which reads, and the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, which is over in that Middle Eastern region, which is really Western Asia, and the waters thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the East might be prepared. And what have we been seeing over the decades? The river Euphrates drying up. And that's also the angels that are what causing the great river Euphrates to dry up, to allow for these different armies to easily travel into the valley of Jehoshaphat for that great battle. But the reason I opened up with these verses is just to show that the Most High uses his angels to, enact his prophecy, his will, and his judgments on the planet of the earth. And that is what he's going to do when it comes time for these angels piloting the chariots to put it on the minds of these different nuclear weapon, personnel to turn those keys and launch those nukes. And and as we're going to read in this article, there have been different accounts of so-called UFOs over nuclear, weapons facilities that have turned on the launch sequences and then at the last second turned them off. Showing that the Most High is in control of everything, and when the time comes, nobody will be able to avert biblical prophecy from coming to its fulfillment. NASA astronaut Edgar Mitchell, who was the sixth man to land on the moon, so-called, has made the extraordinary claim that aliens intervened to prevent nuclear warfare on Earth, because during the Cold War, it wasn't time for World War III or nuclear destruction to take place. The former Apollo 14 participant unveiled striking information about unidentified flying objects seen by military personnel during weapons tests. He disclosed how unusual vehicles were reported around crucial missile sites and the significant White Sands area in New Mexico, where humanity detonated its first nuclear weapon in 1945. Mitchell himself, a native of New Mexico, close to both the nuclear test site and Roswell, infamous for its purported UFO event, professed knowledge of the regions. "You don't know the area like I do," he underscored during his 2015 conversation with Mirror Online. Mitchell revealed that White Sands was a testing ground for atomic weapons, and that's what the extraterrestrials were interested in, reports Daily Star. He contended that they wanted to know about our military capabilities, which, that's where the fiction comes in, because the Most High and the angels already know how those nuclear weapons work. It was the Most High that allowed these Edomites to he put the knowledge in their head to create these nuclear weapons, so he has complete control of them. Based on his interactions, Mitchell categorically stated that extraterrestrials, in quotes, have been trying to prevent us from engaging in war and encouraging peace on our planet, which, as I've been saying throughout the video, it wasn't time during the Cold War for prophecies of nuclear destruction to take place. So that's why it didn't take place. But the angels made their presence known by going over, those nuclear weapons facilities in so-called UFOs, really the chariots, turning on the launch sequences and turning them off, showing that, hey, we're in complete control of this thing. And you Edomites, you heathens, are at our whim, at our mercy. But now I'm going to jump around a little bit. "I have spoken to many Air Force officers who worked at these silos during the Cold War," he continued. "They told me UFOs were frequently seen overhead and often disabled their missiles. Other officers from bases on the Pacific coast told me their test missiles were frequently shot down by alien aircraft." There was a lot of activity in those days. And there's a clip out there showing the U.S. launching a missile, and a chariot flew to the side of it, and it looked like it shot a bolt of electricity on its right side. It flew to the top, shot another bolt of electricity, then flew to its left side and shot a third bolt, and it just completely destroyed the missile, and it looked like everything was moving in slow motion. That just goes to show the otherworldly capabilities of the chariots that nothing these heathens, chiefly Esau, can compete with. And now it's going to go into some quotes from a guy named Nick Pope, a former Ministry of Defense UFO researcher. I'll read this last paragraph. There have certainly been some intriguing UFO sightings around nuclear facilities and around military bases more generally, but an alternative explanation is that some of these sightings are attributable to espionage activity involving secret spy planes or drones, which, these different military facilities do have, espionage and counterintelligence, activities taking place. But, the angels in the chariots have been around these nuclear facilities as well, again, controlling the entire, infrastructure of it. And when the time comes, just like those angels in that Middle Eastern region around the Great River Euphrates, who, when they get the orders from the Most High, are going to put it on the minds of these different heathens' armies to finally initiate the battle in the Valley of Jehoshaphat. When these angels get the orders from the Most High to turn on those launch sequences and control those missiles so they hit their targets, they're going to do it without a hitch. But that's it with this article. I'm going to close it out now in Joel chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 1 to see what the Bible says about extraterrestrials trying to prevent humans from, initiating a nuclear war and pushing for world peace. And the header reads, "The terrible visitation. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion and sound an alarm in my holy mountain," which is exactly what the men of the Lord, the prophets of the Most High, chiefly through GMS or Great Millstone, as well as the brothers that come in the spirit of GMS are doing by going out onto the highways and byways preaching this word, as well as putting up video epistles like this, letting everyone know of the biblical times they're living in, the last days, which at this point we're in the last seconds of the last days. "Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of Yahweh cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and of gloominess, a day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains, a great people and a strong," and this is going into the nuclear missiles, "there hath not been ever the like, because they came about very recently, beginning with those atomic bombs during World War II. Fat man and little boy dropped on Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. When these nations finally shoot their nuclear missiles, every single one will be fired. And then after the dust settles, the survivors, beginning with the elites, such as the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers, are going to be gathered up by Yahushai and the 144,000 of the elect of the nation of Israel, who are going to have spiritual powers. They're going to be gathered up and have chains slapped on them so they can serve in hardcore bondage and slavery during the first 1,000 years of the kingdom of heaven, building it up. And Abaratazam of that number, we won't allow you to build weapons of war anymore. As it says in Micah chapter 4, they shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not fight against nation, neither shall they learn war any more. A fire devoureth before them, that warhead at the front of the missile, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them. The land looks normal. You've got cities, parks, people, animals, life as usual. And behind them a desolate wilderness. Yeah, and nothing shall escape them. When those nukes hit their targets, especially in the United States of America, it's going to look like a desolate wasteland, like in these post-apocalyptic movies or video games. The appearance of them is as the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. And when the prophets saw these visions thousands of years ago, they They didn't know what a modern day nuclear missile was, so they weren't going to say a Satan II or a Zircon hypersonic missile. They had to describe it with what they knew during their times, ancient weapons of war like bows and arrows, spears, horsemen and chariots. Verse 5, like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, as a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pained. All faces shall gather blackness, or ash, soot, people getting burnt to a crisp by these nuclear missiles. Now here's the main points I wanted to get to. Salakia. They shall run like mighty men. They shall climb the wall like men of war, and they shall march everyone on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. These missiles go into all their intended targets because the Spirit of the Most High, through the angels piloting these chariots, which have clearly shown that they can take complete control of these nuclear facilities, they're going to be guiding these missiles to all their targets without any problems. Verse 8, neither shall one thrust another. They shall walk every one in his path, and when they shall fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. And at the same time, the angels and the chariots are going to be controlling these anti-missile defense systems, which is what that sword is. So when these missiles, these mighty men fall upon them, they won't be wounded. Those missiles will easily get past those missile defense systems to hit their targets. So that's it with this video. With this video, I hope you sincere Akim and Akwath were edified. Just keep strong. We are almost out of this final wicked captivity of the heathen nations, chiefly of the Edomites. And as always, I'm going to say Abad Babal, Kwam Yasharala, and until next time, Shalom.